Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of This Week in Magic Online Finance. My name is Chaz Andres, and as always, we're going to get started this week with the news. The biggest story of the week is actually a pretty big picture story. It's about the Mtgo economy as a whole, which is actually in its most robust position since before the MTG Arena crash last fall. If you take a look at the MTG Goldfish Modern Staples Index, you'll note that it's about twice as high as it was back in December. So, if you kept your Modern collection through the crash like I advised you to, congratulations, your patience finally did pay off. Now, an even better overall sign for the MTGO economy is that the ticket exchange rate is really good right now. See, even though event tickets are ostensibly worth $1, as that's what Wizards of the Coast will sell you an event ticket for, stores won't pay that much for an event ticket. So if you want to sell your collection out to a store, you're going to have to accept the going rate per ticket. For most of this year, that rate was somewhere in the 80 to 85 cents, sometimes 90 cents a ticket range. Right now, MTGO Traders has upped their ticket buy price to 93 cents per ticket. That is the highest it has been in a long time. And that's a good thing, because MTGO traders wouldn't be paying that much for tickets if they didn't think they could turn them right around and sell them for a profit. And the only way that would be happening is if a lot of people were buying into MTGO right now and needed to exchange a lot of cash for a lot of event tickets. Now, back in December, when I begged you not to sell your MTGO collections during the crash, I promised that I would tell you when it was okay to finally pull that trigger and sell out of MTGO if you're so inclined. And here we are. Now, I'm not saying you should sell out of MTGO, I'm not saying you have to sell out of MTGO. In fact, Modern is probably not coming to Arena anytime soon, and I expect prices to be fairly stable moving forward. Modern MTGO is still a fairly safe place to hold assets. That said, you now can sell of MTGO if you are so inclined. You have my blessing. The market is finally in decent shape, so there you go. I promised I'd tell you when things were okay again, and they more or less are, at least when it comes to Modern. Let's move on now to Gaining Ground, where in Standard it was Finale of Devastation, following Finale of Promise's lead, up 7 tickets this week from 9 to 16. And, you know, what can I really say about cards like this? Mythic rares from current sets that also see play in Modern are becoming gold thanks to the weird economics of set redemption. Finale of Devastation is just the latest to follow this Kaya track, and based on its current price chart, which is still pointing upward, I wouldn't be surprised if Finale of Devastation is up over the 20 ticket mark by this point next week. Let's move back over to Modern now, where the card that gained the most ground this week was Ren and 6, the Modern Horizons Planeswalker, which gained about 10 tickets from 26 up to 36. And Ren and 6 wasn't alone. A lot of other Modern Horizons cards saw pretty major spikes this week, with cards like Urza, Force of Negation, Giver of Runes, and others seeing fairly major price increases. In fact, the entire Modern Horizons index appears to have bottomed out early last week and has been slowly and steadily rising ever since. So, why is this happening now? Well, it's all about Modern Horizons. Modern Horizons has changed Modern in so many new and exciting ways that everybody pretty much wants to get a bunch of those cards and jump into a game of Modern right now. Modern, of course, isn't available on Arena, so if you want to play Modern online, you still have to play it on MTGO. A lot of people do, hence they're converting cash into tickets and tickets into Modern Horizons staples. Now, as I said in the intro, Modern is really hot right now. Thanks to Modern Horizons, everybody is getting involved in building decks, and they need a ton of these cards going forward. Also, Modern Horizons packs are crazy expensive on Magic Online, so it's honestly possible that the Modern Horizons index is still undervalued at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we check back in next week and the Modern Horizons index is even higher than it is right now. So, if you've been holding off on getting these cards, I would at least take a quick look at the price chart, see if they're still trending upward, and if they are, I'd give them a buy. Let's move on to our first biggest loser of the week. In Standard, it was Arclight Phoenix, dropping 6 more tickets from 33 down to 27. And this continues the losing trend that this card has been on, more or less uninterrupted since Guilds of Ravnica left the set redemption window, minus a small bounce in late May. This card, I really do believe, is going to hold its value long term due to the amount of play it sees in all the Eternal formats, but it is still clearly on a downward trend. So I'm not selling my personal playset of Phoenixes, but unless you need them for a deck right now, I'd hold off and wouldn't buy in yet. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Arclight Phoenix drops below the 20 ticket mark before eventually rebounding. Let's move back over to Modern, where weirdly the card that lost the most value this week was also a Modern Horizons card. And it's one of the best cards in the set. It's Hogak Arisen Necropolis, which lost 12 full tickets from 18 all the way down to 6. And that's pretty wild. I mean, I guess 18 might have been a stretch for, a rare, but Hogak is a really, really good card, and nothing I've seen over the past couple of weeks has indicated to me that it's going to be anything other than a really good card going forward. So yeah, I'm probably going to try and pick up a couple of these while they're in the 5 to 6 ticket range, because long term, I really believe in Hogak. I think that this card will find a home one way or another, and there's a lot of decks right now that, make that pretty clear. So this one seems like a buy to me. I think the pendulum swung a little too hard in the other direction. Now, the sneak of the week this week is Mishra's Bauble, a card that peaked around 25 tickets back in early spring before spending most of April and May losing value. Bottomed out around 8 tickets a couple of weeks ago, it's been on the rise ever since. It's back up to the 20 ticket mark now and rising incredibly fast. Remember, Mishra's Bauble is one of those cards that has a much lower supply online than in paper because many fewer packs of Iconic Masters were opened on Mtgo. The result is this card that is really, really important in these new Modern Horizons builds, and people really want it right now. I wouldn't be surprised if this one peaks up above the 30 ticket mark before eventually correcting in price. Let's end the week by taking a look at the Mtgo Trader sales data over the past 7 days. And as always, this gives us the best possible idea of which cards are selling the best right now, regardless of price increases or decreases. Now, in terms of overall sales of the week by price, Force of Negation was the #1 best-selling card by far. In fact, Force of Negation was pretty close to topping out both of these lists, both overall sales by price and overall sales by volume, something that is very, very hard for a card to do. So yeah, Force of Negation has established itself as a bona fide modern staple, so it is only going to increase in demand from here. I would get your copies soon because it is a card that is on the rise, and that demand is very organic. I also want to mention that Teferi Time Raveler was up this week, recovering all of last week's losses and then some. And I wanted to bring this up because 2 weeks ago I had called Teferi a buy, and then it dropped a bunch last week, and I ate a lot of crow on the show. So I just want to say, hey, Teferi's back up again, as it should be. This card is one of the most important cards in War of the Spark, and I expect it to be pretty expensive on Mtgo for some time yet to come. Looking at overall sales by volume, it's clear to me that the Hogak Vengevine decks are among the most popular right now in terms of brewers. Both Hogak Arisen Necropolis and Altar of Dementia were among the best-selling cards of the week by volume, which is something that's really hard for fairly expensive rares to achieve. This makes me even more bullish about Hogak in the future than I was earlier in this video, and I was pretty bullish there, so I definitely expect this card to rebound again soon. And that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Chaz Andres, and I will see you again next Monday morning for another episode of This Week in Magic Online Finance.